Hello, sweet friends. We have made it to the kites and the rhombi/rhombuses, and the formula for a kite or a rhombus is going to be area equals D1, which is diagonal 1, times diagonal 2 divided by 2. So we need to find our diagonals. So the silly way I explain this to my students is whenever you highlight a diagonal, you are going to think of it like a fancy toothpick. So we would highlight from here to here. So what two numbers do you cross when you cross the 10 and the 8? And you're going to put a flag on it. A lot of times they'll have this little fancy frilly flags on toothpicks at the top. We're going to put a flag to say how long that is. So how long is that one? That is a diagonal of 18. How long is the other diagonal? Well, you cross, oh goodness, sorry guys. You cross 6.5 and you cross 6.5. So how long would that flag be? That would be 6.5 times 2, which we know is going to be 13. So my two diagonals here are going to be 13 and 18. And so we've got our two diagonals, D1 times D2. Don't get confused. This is not like B1 plus B2 in a trapezoid. These are going to be the diagonals. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be multiplying them together. So that's going to be 13. Let's write that out. That's going to be area equals 13 times 18 divided by 2. We're multiplying those and dividing by 2. So 13 times 18 is 234. Divided by 2 is 117. Since this is area, that's going to be centimeters squared. Remember, area is always going to be units squared. All right, kite again. So let's get our fancy diagonals. Let's get our fancy toothpick flag. So that one crossed 4 and 4, which is 8. This one crossed, let's see, this one crossed 2 and 6.5. So that flag would read 8.5. 2 plus 6.5 is 8.5. And so what we're going to do is we are going to do area equals D1 times D2 divided by 2. So that is going to be equal to 8.5 times 8 divided by 2. So let's type that in. 8.5 times 8 divided by 2. 34 feet squared. This is area. Area is always going to be in units squared. All right, so that is for our kite. Now let's look at a rhombus. Now remember that a rhombus is going to be the same all the way around. And so all of those would be 6. We have our D1, where it is going to be the same on both sides of that diagonal. The diagonals bisect each other, so my fancy flag would read 4 plus 4 is going to give me a diagonal of 8. This diagonal would be, we don't know, and so we know that it's going to be the same on both sides. It's going to be an X and an X, but we need to use some Pythagorean theorem because I know that this is a right triangle. All 4 of these are right triangles, and so what I can do is I can go X squared plus 4 squared equals 6 squared. So what I'd type in is 6 squared minus 4 squared. That is going to be the square root of 20. Your calculator knows what that is, so we're not going to worry about that. We're going to do root 20. And so it's going to be root 20, square root of 20, times 2 is going to give me about, if I had to round it for this, the flag on this one, it would be about 8.9. But I'm just going to leave that number in my calculator. That's going to be area equals D1 times D2 divided by 2. So area is going to be equal to 8.9-ish times 8 divided by 2. Now I'm going to leave that number in my calculator so that I round at the very end. 8.94 times 8 divided by 2. When I round at the very, very, very end, it's going to give me, rounded would be about 35.8. This is meters squared because area is always going to be in units squared, and so these are in meters. All right, if you did it exactly 8.9 times 8 divided by 2, you would get, 8.9 times 8 divided by 2, you would get 35.6. So if you got that, that's totally fine. It's just based on how I rounded. I rounded at the very, very end. Okay? All right, now let's look at this rhombus. Again, we've got our 7, so that means that this piece is 7 as well. What would I put on that flag? That would be a length of 14. I'm just adding those together. What about my other toothpick? Well, I don't have it. And so I'm going to have to use, again, I'm going to have to use Pythagorean theorem. So here's a right angle. This is going to be x and x. And so I'm going to do x squared plus 7 squared equals 8 squared. And so I'm going to do 8 squared minus 7 squared. That gives me the square root of 15. So not only is this one the square root of 15, this one is also the square root of 15. And so when I do the square root of 15 times 2, I get about 7.7. I'm going to leave that number in my calculator. That is going to be 7.7 times D2, 14, divided by 2. Okay, so I'm going to leave that number in my calculator, times 14 divided by 2. When I round at the very end, it is going to be about 54.2. If you use that true 7.7 number, 7.7 times 14, you go ahead and round it, and then you divide by 2, it'd be 53.9, okay? The most exact answer is going to be 54.2 because I rounded at the very end. And so there is going to be centimeters squared because the area is always going to be units squared. All right, last but not least, a kite. Remember, a kite is still D1 times D2. So let's find our D1. Our D1 is going to be an 8 and an 8. So what would I put on that flag? 8 plus 8 is 16. Here is the other one. We want to do this diagonal. Well, we have the 15, but we don't have the other missing piece. So we need to find x. So again, I'd use the right triangle. I'd use Pythagorean theorem. I'd go x squared plus 8 squared equals 10 squared. So you'd type in 10 squared minus 8 squared. You'd get the square root of 36. So x is going to be equal to the square root of 36, which we know is 6. And so what is that entire diagonal? Well, 6 plus 15 is 21. And so that's going to be 20. Oh, what is that whole thing? 15 plus 6 is 21 times diagonal 2 is 16 divided by 2. 21 times 16 is 336, divided by 2 is 168. So exactly 168 centimeters squared because area is always going to be in units squared. All right, so that is page 1. I will make a new video for the next page.